Hey friends! My name is Desiree, aka Mama Friendly. I do all sorts of videos on my channel, from cooking videos to planner videos, vlogs, hauls, homeschool videos with a Disney twist, a little bit of everything. So if any of that sounds like fun to you, I hope you'll subscribe and join me on this YouTube adventure. So you're staring at a blank monthly calendar, and you're probably wondering to yourself, why am I staring at a blank monthly calendar? That, or you look at the title of the video and you know exactly what we're doing here. I have been doing cycle syncing for about a year now, if not a little longer, and I've been posting recipes on my channel. I've been posting all sorts of themed grocery hauls. In the last few months, you might have seen that I've been posting grocery hauls with meal plans attached, because I keep finding all these lists of ingredients you're meant to incorporate during your cycle syncing on Pinterest and on Google and everywhere else, but nobody really tells you what to do with those ingredients. So I thought that if I could come up with at least one sample menu for each phase of the menstrual cycle, that would be helpful to someone. But what I haven't talked about yet is movement, because cycle syncing is not just a food thing, it's a whole lifestyle thing. It's a holistic approach to making sure that you're giving your body what it needs on any given day of the month, so that you always feel your best inside and out. Now, as usual, whenever I jump into these cycle syncing videos, I want to remind you, I am not a doctor, a nutritionist, a dietitian, a physical therapist, I don't know, anything. I'm not any of those things. I'm somebody that's done a lot of research and that has implemented these things into my own lifestyle. So what I'm going to do is tell you what I'm doing, and maybe you get some ideas from that. This is not me telling you that this is what you should do. However, based on my own experience with it, I'm having a great time, and so I recommend it. But I recommend it as just some dude off the street. I am not recommending it as any sort of professional. Have a conversation with your doctor, come up with a plan that works for you, but maybe that plan includes this, right? So let's jump into it. Cycle syncing, of course, as I've mentioned very briefly, is the practice of changing what you eat and how you move and just your lifestyle generally around the different phases of your menstrual cycle. Some days your hormone levels make you feel very energetic, very motivated, very go, go, go. Some days your hormones leave you kind of wiped out and tired. And there are certain things that you're going to push yourself to do on days where you're very, very up, very amped, that maybe you're not going to want to do, or that are not going to serve you well on days that you're a little more beat. So your mileage will vary, of course, but I just got my period. I'm doing this for the month of October. You're going to be seeing this later on in the year, because I already have so much cycle syncing content coming up on the channel that I wanted to make sure to get that out and then eventually get this out to you. But you should still be seeing this before the new year, and I know that a lot of people like to start health or fitness journeys in the new year, so hopefully this comes at a time that it is helpful for you. What I like to do is I like to take a blank calendar every month, because my period does not start on the first of the month every single month, right? Obviously, most people's doesn't. And I've been tracking my period long enough to know that I have a 31-day cycle pretty much every single month. So again, your mileage will vary. Maybe your cycles are not as regular, maybe your cycles are longer or shorter. So this is all going to depend on you, but I am going to give you some general kind of loose guidelines to help you come up with your own cycle syncing exercise calendar. So the very first week is, of course, your menstrual week, where you're actually menstruating. Then you have your follicular phase, and that is a phase that comes between menstruation and ovulation. At this point, your energy levels are starting to ramp up again, because during the menstrual phase, your energy levels are at their absolute lowest. Your body is focusing on shedding that lining of your uterus and pretty much nothing else. So all of your energy is going towards that. In the follicular phase, your estrogen and everything is starting to build back up. Your energy is starting to build back up. So think of it almost as like a ramp, as a bell curve, if you will. During your ovulation phase, that's when your body goes into baby making mode. all of your hormones are at their highest possible levels. You're at the top of the peak, as it were. And so you're going to have your highest energy levels of the month during your ovulation phase. And lastly, you're going to have your luteal phase, which is the longest phase. It usually lasts about 2 weeks. And at that point, your energy levels have nowhere to go but down. But it is the longest phase. So it's a nice slow decline all the way back to which is your menstrual phase. Because obviously this is a cycle, this is secular, there's no beginning and end. Once you get to the luteal phase, you end up back at the menstruation phase. And so again, it's menstruation, follicular, ovulation, luteal. So these are going to be your energy levels throughout your cycle, and this is the kind of map we're going to use to sort out our exercise for the month. So me personally, what works for me, I take one rest day a week, and I usually do it on Sundays, because Sundays we usually go and visit my family, my parents, and so it becomes a little more complicated for me to get a workout in. And so if I'm gonna have a rest day once a week anyways, I might as well do it that day, that's the day that I need the extra time. You might opt to not do a rest day at all. Maybe that's a day that you choose to go on a walk or do yoga as sort of like an active recovery. That's up to you. Something else I like to do is the actual day of my period, I go ahead and I give myself a rest day as well. That's because I have particularly violent and painful periods. The first and second days are really, really bad for me. And there are some schools of thought that say that movement helps with menstrual cramps, but when you're feeling that bad, sometimes I just can't get myself motivated to do it, and I'm not going to punish myself for that either. So the first day of my period, I typically allow that as a rest day. For the last several months since I started incorporating cycle syncing into my exercise routine, I've been doing a lot of strength training, and I have found that with my tendinitis especially, I've been having a lot less pain and a lot less flare-ups of pain since I started doing strength training. I guess because I'm helping the muscles around my tendons kind of hoist themselves up and not rely on my tendons so much. I don't know if that's actually how it works, but it's what makes sense to me, because the strength training really has helped my pain levels so much. So the basic formula that I follow, my basic map, is every Monday I do upper body, every Wednesday I do lower body, and every Friday I do full body, or I might do like abs, core work, etc. Where and how am I getting these workouts? For the most part, I'm getting my workouts from YouTube. So I actually have a couple of playlists that I alternate, and I've set them up, I've curated them so that the order of the playlist is exactly the order of the exercising that I'm going to do on any given month. So I literally just have to go into the playlist every day and click play on the next video, and that's my workout for the day. So if you want to see those playlists, let me know and I can send them to you, or I don't know if I can post them maybe in the description box. I try to move things around every once in a while just to keep it fresh, but because I have a couple of playlists, I'm not always repeating the same workouts every single month either, so that helps. Obviously, if you belong to a gym and they have classes, by all means, that would be a great way to change things up. And as far as your strength training, I personally use dumbbells and a kettlebell, but you don't have to do that. There's lots of videos online that show you how to do just like body weight resistance type workouts. My biggest advice is to try everything and just see what works for you, because a few years ago I tried yoga for the first time after knowing that I was going to hate it for years and never trying it for years, and it turns out I love yoga and I do it multiple times a week now. So you never know unless you really give it a try. And now that I've got my basic skeleton down, what do I do on the other days? Well, the other days I do cardio, but the cardio is going to be dependent on what phase of the cycle I'm in, because again, higher energy days I'm going to want something a little more intense, but lower energy days I'm not going to want that same intensity, so I'm going to want something a little more chill. still I want to make sure I'm always moving my body, because moving my body makes me feel good. It's not a punishment, it's a privilege, and it's something that I'm learning the older I get. That phrase, use it or lose it, is very, very true. If you don't keep your body in motion, your body will not want to stay in motion. My grandmother is in her 80s, in her late 80s, and she's still working, not because she needs to, but because she wants to. Most people her age are just sitting around the house in, like, you know, their nightgowns and stuff, hanging out. And not her, man. She's going constantly. She's like a shark. She can't stop moving. And you know what? I want to be her when I grow up. And the only way that I'm going to do that is to keep my body in motion now, so that later on, when I want to be squatting on the floor and getting up easily, or when I want to do whatever, my body doesn't go, oh my gosh, what is this? What are we doing? It's something that we're used to doing. We move all the time. No big deal. So, menstruation. For me personally, it lasts 5 or 6 days. So for this month, that is going to be my menstruation week. And during menstruation week, I take it super, super easy. I already have a rest day the first day of my period, and I have a rest day this weekend. So for all the days in between, I personally am going to be doing yoga. You might opt to do a walk, or I don't know, something low-key, Pilates. I know for me, if I were to take a walk outside, it's like you're gonna get heat stroke or you're gonna get eaten by an alligator. So when I like to do walks, I do them inside on the treadmill. But again, you do you. And for all of my workouts, I like to aim for 30 to 45 minutes, but my absolute minimum is 20. So I make it a point to move for at least 20 minutes. I see how I feel, and if I'm feeling good, which I typically am, then I'll keep pushing for 30 to 45 minutes. If I'm having a day where I'm really not feeling like it, and I'm just doing the workout because I'm supposed to be, because I need to be in order to like feel my best, but I don't really feel it, you know, then I will do those 20 minutes and just stop. So that first week, the menstruation week, super low key, super chill. Yoga or walking is pretty much all I get into. For the follicular phase, that's going to last about a week, and that's going to look something like this. So, the follicular week, your energy levels are starting to ramp up, but they're not quite like up yet. So, at this point, I'm still doing yoga, but I'm also incorporating my hot girl walks on the treadmill. So I might do a walk, and then yoga, and then another walk, and that's going to be my follicular week. For ovulation, unfortunately is the shortest time of your cycle, so that's only going to be like a 5 to 6 day window. So I'm going to go ahead and call this my ovulation week. And ovulation is when your energy is at its absolute peak, at its absolute highest. So if you're somebody that does high interval intensity training, now is the time to do that. Me personally, I like to do dance workouts. So I'll do some dance, I'll do Zumba. I am loving the Fitness Marshal on YouTube. You do have to pay a monthly membership to access his longer workouts, like his 30 or 60 minute workouts. I find that it makes sense for me. Like, I love them so much that I will pay to access his workouts because they are phenomenal. He also has like single songs that you can access for free. So if you wanted to, you could put together a playlist and just like curate your own 30, 45 minute, however long dance workout. But I pay for it because I'm obsessed. I'm not telling you to do that, but it is something that I do. Zumba, cycling even. I've been doing Peloton for a long time. I haven't gotten on the bike in a minute because I'm finding that I'm enjoying my dance workouts too much. But if you have access to a spin bike, this would be a great time to do that. And then after that phase, once your body's done ovulating and everything starts kind of winding down again, so now we're at this point of the curve. Now we're in the luteal phase, which is the longest phase. It's known as the 2-week wait between ovulation and getting your period or not. And so very, very slowly our energy levels are starting to wind down at this point. And this is, once again, for me, not saying it's what you have to do, but for me, this is when I start implementing more walks. I might do another dance workout that day depending on how I'm feeling. but walk, yoga, walk, yoga. I love yoga not just for the strengthening, but for like the chill aspect, the like meditative aspect. But I find that I get a lot of strength benefits and stretching benefits from yoga, so I try to implement it wherever I can. As a bigger woman, my favorite places to find yoga content online are Eden Loves Life, her channel. It's been a while since she's posted a yoga video, but she's got a ton of old ones from like early in the pandemic that I really, really love. Yesemin Stanley, iconic. Make sure you check out their channel. And I am also really liking Nourished Natasha for her flows. So these are all yoga instructors, actual instructors, like they're trained, certified, etc. instructors that happen to be in bigger bodies. So they help you flow a certain way. They provide modifications. They don't ask you to do things that are unrealistic for certain body types. And they still give you a really, really nice workout. So that's my month. You can compare here. This was September's, and it's basically the same thing. So I start out the day of my period. As you can see, my period was a little closer to the weekend. I still gave myself both rest days, and I just picked it up afterwards. But this is just kind of the formula that I always stick to. And I find that because I'm sticking to this formula, and I'm never too tired for what I have that day ahead of me, I'm actually following through with my workouts. I'm wanting to work out. I'm craving the movement, and it's helping me feel good. And these are all things you want, right? Because again, exercise is not a punishment. Exercise is a privilege, and it makes you feel good to do it. So that is how I set up my cycle syncing workouts. If you do something similar, I'd love to hear how your situation differs from mine. Let's brainstorm about it. If you've never heard of this and you're curious about it, let me know. I'd love to know if you're starting a journey like this. Maybe we can help motivate each other, keep each other on track. Again, I'm not doing this necessarily for any sort of weight loss or anything like that. It's just because movement feels good. And the way that movement feels best to me is by not pushing myself further than my body wants me to go on any given day. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you did like it, I hope you'll please give it a big thumbs up before you go. If you want to see more content like this, or if you have specific questions about my cycle syncing journey, let me know in the comments. I also hope that you'll subscribe and click that notification bell, because I post at least 3 times a week and I wouldn't want you to miss a minute. Thanks so much again for watching. Bye.